The smartest person in the room isn't the one talking the most. They're the one watching, calculating, waiting for the exact moment to deploy a psychological trigger that will make you do exactly what they want. And you won't even realize it happened. Today, I'm exposing 7 dark psychology tricks that highly intelligent people use to influence, persuade, and control outcomes. Not so you can manipulate people, but so you can recognize when it's being done to you. Trick number 4? That's the one you've definitely fallen for without knowing it, probably in the last 48 hours. And trick 7? Once you learn it, you'll never unsee it. Every conversation you have will be different. Let's get dark. Trick number 1, strategic silence, the power vacuum. Here's what most people don't understand about silence. Humans are terrified of it. When there's an awkward pause in conversation, your brain panics. And what do you do when you panic? You fill the silence. Highly intelligent people weaponize this. They ask you a question, you give an answer, and then they just wait. They don't respond. They don't nod. They just look at you. And what happens? You start talking again, filling in details you weren't planning to share, over-explaining, confessing. Police interrogators use this constantly. Therapists too, negotiators. They create a power vacuum with silence, and you rush to fill it with information that weakens your position. How to defend? Get comfortable with silence. When you've said what you need to say, stop. Don't fill the void. Trick number 2, the Columbo technique, weaponized humility. There's an old TV detective named Columbo who would act bumbling, confused, a little stupid. He'd ask seemingly random questions, fumble with his notes, apologize for wasting people's time. And then, just as he's leaving, he'd turn around and say, "Oh, just one more thing." And that's when he'd hit you with the real question. Highly intelligent people do this constantly. They make themselves seem less threatening than they are. They downplay their intelligence. They ask stupid questions, and you drop your guard. Because here's the thing. When someone seems harmless, you stop being careful about what you say. You explain things in more detail. You underestimate them, and they're collecting everything. How to defend? Never assume someone is less intelligent than they appear, especially if they're asking very specific, dumb questions.
Trick number 3, controlled vulnerability, the trust hack. When someone shares something personal with you, something that makes them look weak or flawed, what's your instinct? You trust them more. Because vulnerability feels real. It feels honest. You think, if they're willing to show me their weaknesses, they must be genuine. Right? Wrong. Smart manipulators know exactly which vulnerabilities to share. They'll confess to a small flaw to hide a bigger one. They'll share a story that makes them look slightly bad to make you feel like you're seeing the real them. And once you think they've been honest, you stop questioning them. It's a trust hack. They give you a little vulnerability to buy your guard dropping completely. How to defend? Notice when vulnerability feels too strategic, too timed. Real vulnerability is messy. Calculated vulnerability is weaponized. And we're just getting started. The next trick? You've fallen for it this week, probably today. Trick number 4, the illusion of choice, controlled options. Someone asks you, do you want to meet Tuesday or Wednesday? You pick one, you feel like you made the decision. But did you? You never got to decide if you wanted to meet at all. Highly intelligent people never ask open-ended questions when they want a specific outcome. They give you 2 or 3 options, all of which serve their goal. Do you want to do this now or later? Not if, when. Should we go with option A or option B? Not whether, which. This works because your brain hates feeling controlled. So when you're given a choice, even a fake one, you feel autonomous. You think you decided. Meanwhile, they've narrowed your entire reality to the options they picked. How to defend? When someone gives you options, ask yourself, what am I not being offered? Then create your own option. Everything I'm showing you here is backed by decades of psychological research. And if you want to go deeper into how these patterns work, there's a book called Influence by Robert Cialdini that is essentially the manual manipulators themselves study. Except you're going to use it to protect yourself. Links in the description. Now, let's keep going. Trick number 5. Mirroring and pacing, the invisible bond. When someone subtly matches your body language, your speech patterns, your energy level, your brain registers them as similar to you. And we trust people who are similar to us. Highly intelligent people do this unconsciously well. If you're speaking quickly, they speak up. If you're calm, they slow down. If you cross your arms, 30 seconds later, they do too. They're creating rapport without you noticing. But here's where it gets dark. Once they've paced you, meaning matched your state, they can lead you. They'll gradually shift their energy, and because you've been subconsciously following their lead, you shift too. Suddenly, you're calmer, or more excited, or more agreeable, and you think you decided to feel that way. How to defend? Pay attention to whether someone is matching you a little too perfectly, and notice if your mood shifts when theirs does. Trick number 6. The takeaway. Manufactured scarcity. Humans want what they can't have. The moment something becomes unavailable, we want it more. Intelligent people use this ruthlessly. They'll show interest in you, then pull back. They'll offer something valuable, then hint it might not be available much longer. They'll make you feel chosen, then suggest you might lose that status. This works because your brain doesn't evaluate things based on absolute value. It evaluates based on scarcity. The same opportunity feels completely different when you think it might disappear. Watch for this in every sales tactic. Limited time offer, only 3 spots left. I'm not sure if this will still be available tomorrow. They're not telling you about actual scarcity. They're manufacturing urgency. How to defend? When you feel sudden urgency, pause. Ask yourself, did I want this before they made it seem scarce? And now we get to the darkest one, the one you can't unsee once you learn it. Trick number 7. The implicit contract, invisible debt. When someone does something for you, even something small, your brain creates an invisible debt. You feel like you owe them. And highly intelligent people weaponize this. They'll do you unsolicited favors, give you compliments you didn't ask for, offer help before you need it. Not because they're nice, because they're creating leverage. Now, when they ask you for something, you can't say no, because you owe them. They did all those nice things. You'd look ungrateful if you refused. Except you never asked for those favors. They were strategically deployed to put you in debt. And now you're trapped in a contract you never agreed to. This is why salespeople give you free samples, why manipulators are overly generous early on, why toxic people remind you of everything they've done for you. They're building invisible debt they plan to collect later. How to defend? When someone does unsolicited favors, thank them, but don't feel obligated. You didn't ask, you don't owe.
Now listen, I'm not showing you these tricks so you can become a manipulator. I'm showing you because awareness is your only defense. Once you know these patterns, you can see them happening. And once you see them, they lose power. These tricks work because they're invisible. The moment you make them visible, they stop working. Look, intelligent people will always have an edge. That's just reality. But now you know their playbook. You know the silence trick, the fake humility, the controlled vulnerability, the false choices, the mirroring, the manufactured scarcity, the invisible debt. And knowledge is protection. If this opened your eyes to patterns you've been missing, hit subscribe, because I'm going to keep exposing the psychology nobody talks about. And drop a comment. Which trick have you fallen for? Or, be honest, which one have you used? Remember, these tricks only work in the dark. Now you're bringing light.